I'm Steve Vibronics, and this is the Life in Dub podcast, talking to people who live their lives in dub and reggae. Episode number 14. Welcome to the 14th Life in Dub podcast. I hope you're all doing okay out there. Up here in Leicester, we have a new lockdown as the virus surges back, so it looks like the rough ride will continue in 2020. Virus aside though, thanks as usual for all your messages and comments. As this podcast grows, there's hours and hours of unique stories to check out from many of the leading lights in dub and reggae. So if you haven't already, don't forget to go back and check out all the older episodes. Also, don't forget that if you want to support the podcast, the best way is to order yourself an I Live My Life in Dub t-shirt. There's a link in the show notes, or you can just go to lifeindub.com and follow the link through to Bandcamp. This week I want to talk about promotion, especially sound system promotion. I think in this scene it's still the main way that people get to know about new releases. For sure, radio promotion's still really important and person-to-person recommendations, but all the biggest tunes are still made big through sound system play. There's the main established sounds attracting big crowds and clubs and festivals, but there's also countless smaller sound systems all promoting the music across the four corners of the globe. Now with the virus situation, I wonder how new tunes can or will become hits. I can testify personally that people are for sure still buying lots of music, new and old. But without sound system dances happening, I'm interested to see how new tunes reach people. I think even if you don't go to dances, or go very rarely, you still get to know what's what in the sound system arena, whether that's in the millions of Facebook, YouTube or Instagram videos, or through people talking about the tunes that play in dances and spreading the news that way. But it still all points back to sound system dances. And without these happening, I think it will be interesting to see what kind of new tunes people start picking up on, or whether the year 2020 will see some changes in musical tastes. Because reggae music is a musical force that continually moves forward and refuses to stand still. So we all just have to see. This week, my guest is Joseph from King Alpha Sound System. King Alpha have become an essential name in the sound system scene over the last few years, with their own heavyweight sound system and record label. We had a really interesting chat, and I think you'll learn a lot from this interview, with Joseph talking about growing up in Ghana, as well as his rise up the ranks via the Word Sound and Power stable in London, and a lot of talk about the intensity of sound system music. So enough of me, let's get on with the interview. So, Joseph King Alpha, welcome to the Life in Dub podcast.
Yeah, man, welcome, man. Give thanks.
Nice you could join me here. So, well, listen, what I'm doing is I'm starting off each podcast with the same question. You might have heard it before, a lot of other people will have heard it, but it's just the same question I'm asking everybody, which is like, can you name a track which really had a big influence on you, something that really changed things for you, that you think, yeah, when I listened to that track, it kind of changed everything. So I don't know if you've got an example of a track like that you want to talk about.
It's a very deep question. Wow. There's been a few, but to pick that specific one, I must tell you the truth, right? It was, I have to say it's Tenor Soul, Life is One Big Road, Reason why for me saying that, because it was like the first time I actually sit down and taking reggae, like sit down and someone say, "Yo, listen to this," So, and that alone for me, that time we played it over and over again. It changed my perspective of, okay, to be honest with you, it's that tune because it's the first tune I actually, all right, this is reggae or whatnot, must say.
Do you remember when that was?
Yes, I would tell you that was in 1997, because prior to that, I was into music anyway, but not that kind of, I didn't even know a word like that existed, Yeah. So that was around about early 1997.
What was it about that tune that kind of that you think back now you kind of remember about it? What kind of impression did it leave on you?
It was the melodies, the melodies, and then I focused on the lyrics. But it was the two that entwined for me like that, you know what I mean? Because I never heard like Never know that kind of, like I said, I was into music already, but not this style of genre, you know. So the melodies is just catch me straight away. I was like, yeah, this is some next thing now, man. You know, yeah.
Well, it's a classic track.
Yeah, man. For real.
So you're talking about like music, and so if we go back even further, you say you were already into music, but because obviously the thing about reggae is that like it's such a kind of underground thing. But you were into other music before and stuff. I mean, what kind of stuff was motivating you back then?
You have to understand, I'm not from Europe. I was born in Ghana and raised in Ghana. I went to school in Ghana. I came to England while I'm aware of things already, in a sense of I'm grown up a little bit. I'm a little 12-year-old, you know. 12-year-old is you grown, you still remember. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean in the sense that I'm aware as a youth, you know. So, and the family I come from, my grandma was the head choir of Anglican Church back in the 80s in Ghana. And this kind of lifestyle is unheard of or undream of, or me turning out this way and whatnot.
Yeah, like the rebel musician.
It was not.
Yeah.
I couldn't even think of myself how to now as we speaking. It's just undreamable. Got in realization and came into Rastafari. Music was not a thing. It wasn't a music thing. This is something I just got into when I literally left school. Mm-hmm. As soon as I left school, I got into this liberty.
And that's because was it around you in London, like?
Like I said, it was when I brought my brethren. He was in fact he was my oldest brother's friend before. This brother disappeared. He went to Caribbean for many years. Next minute, boom, came back. And then this is when I started like seeing, okay, what's this all about? I don't know nothing about these things here. You know, dreadlocks and what it means and, you know. So, like I said, it was something that instantly, boom, I just felt right.
Yeah, like a connection.
I just felt right, you know. And for me, the main, I know what opened up my eyes with this thing, right, is when I first had my puff of weed. And I must say that, and I will never regret saying it, because I'm a weed advocate to the fullest still now. I could never sound that thing here, and a personal thing still. It's something that my first being a rebel, that's the way I put in it, is when I puffed my first weed. And when I got high that day, I said, yeah, this is me, this is right, and that was it. And through that, my mind was open onto to different way apart from the way I've been brought up. You know, there was another door to a whole new universe.
That's the one. It opens all sorts of doors. You know.
Yeah, man. If your head is right, if something, like I said to you, if it's what the heart desire, you know. So if sometimes people heart desire without even realizing what the desire is. So a lot of things was making sense and right, and as an African, born and raised in African, he maybe understood what being an African means and what it is and what it's about. And I never knew the greatness of us and things like that, you know. So getting to Rastafari, it opened up the liberty, which means that you're living according to a certain way of life. Don't eat this, don't do that, whatnot. But there's the culture thing as well, you know. Made me understood what it's all about, the proudness of it. Of being an African, and you know, it really, the more I got to, the more I went back to learning more things about my country and understanding why certain things was happening and why it's like this now and why it was like that, and you know, so it became an education for me.
Well, it must have been quite a thing coming to England from Ghana as well when you're 12. That's like two very different worlds.
It was a big change, you know, and I came at a wrong time. I think it was when with autumn or something like that towards the winter, man.
It's a bit nippy.
Yeah, a bit, my God. It was frozen, man. You know, it was and obviously the language barrier as well. You know, because I had to learn English. I don't speak English. We don't speak English. You know, so I speak Ga. I'm from the Ga tribe. Then you got the Ashantis and the rest of the tribe and the Ewes and whatnot. But we're from the coastline. We're more the Ga people are in the capital of Ghana, which is Accra. You know, that's where you find the Ga people by the coastline. In our language, there's traces of other West African coastline countries, like languages in my language as well. Like there's some of Yoruba language in my language and little things like that, you know. And the folklore tales in my culture, the folklore, the things they celebrate and sing about and whatnot, it tells a tale of we were migration people.
Because if you're growing up there till 12, by the time you're 12, you know, you're pretty grown up, really. So you've done a lot of, you know, you've been through a lot already.
Yeah, that's what I said. I went to school. What was funny, right, is when I was there, I was at secondary school. And when I came to England, I had to go back to the last 2 years of primary school. I was like, what? It was weird. So what happened is I never took no interest in this because some of the work they're teaching, I was like, yo, I've done all of this because I remember them in school in Ghana. You know, I remember all of these things here. So I just never took no interest in them kind of things there. Like I said, everything for a reason, you know. Yeah, it was a big change. Mm-hmm. As well as this lifestyle, the way I look was a big change, you know, even for my family to handle this kind of change, you know. And even the way I eat became a big change, you know. So, like I said, as a family that I grew up in, it took a lot for an understanding for them to get to understand what I'm about, you know, why I am how I am, you know what I mean? My older brother was into music. This is like in his early teens, and because I remember he was buying lots of things like little equipment, but I didn't really grasp on it too much. But we were kind of listening to the same similar things back then. It was more like drum and bass. Drum and bass was the thing. I say you at that time. It was the underground thing. We got heavily into it, you know, very, very, very heavily into it.
It was a big thing at the time. Very, very big thing at the time.
Yeah, it was. I've been to most of the big raves like back then, man. Yeah, it was. But it was more of not the raving side of it, more of the music side of it. You know, mixing with two turntables and, you know, blending two different tunes together and all that kind of thing. I was very, very heavily into that, you know. But I must say, it was more of my older brother, yeah, because he was into it and he dedicated a lot to it, you know, to just music generally, not just drum and bass, just music. He built his first studio when he was 18, you know, and that kind of thing. So it wasn't far away from me, and it's not alienated to me as well. But it's just something I've been kind of around in my early teens, you know, due to my older brothers.
Then obviously you started to discover reggae, because reggae is a big presence in drum and bass anyway, obviously. And then it must have, I guess the reggae thing must have taken you, otherwise you wouldn't be in this position you're in now, you know.
Right. It was more for, especially what I was into, it was more for like bass line, you know. I always loved the bass as a youth, you know. I love when the doors rattling and you know, speakers, you know, it's a thing I always have anyway. Just love bass.
You know when the door's rattling that, like, it's doing something.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, you get this little feeling like, yeah, so, even as a little 13-year-old, I was feeling that. But what it was is when I got into the reggae, and I go, oh, right, this is where the foundation come from. Because before it was drum and bass, it was jungle. And jungle was sample of old reggae stuff. Practically 70-80% of it with some little break beats on it, you know. Especially some of the bass and a lot of them come from come from old reggae tunes, you know. So it literally didn't take me long. Like within a few months of being heavily into reggae, like it's something I just literally got. I totally disregard everything else, just got hard into it. The listening process of it, tell you, you know, it's like I can listen to a tune consistent for weeks, one tune alone for weeks on my Walkman, repeat. And in my head, I'm breaking down these tunes to the extent I'm hearing the little king and the ka, and I was gathering all of that. So, right, all of this is what make these things happen, this reggae, you know. I mean, these little things in it, really and truly, is what catches people. The little organ in the background.
Yeah, it's about trying to learn how it's made. I mean, that's a similar thing for me when I discovered it. It was like, I loved it. And then you start thinking, well, how is it? What are the parts that make it so amazing?
Right. You see, this is because, like I said, I was listening to it in a deep sense of breaking it down back to the ABC of it, you know? And I just realized that, yeah, it's what catch me the most. You know, for some reason, it's like a magnet.
Yeah, when it attracts you, you can't pull away from it.
Yeah, I can't explain it. The only if I can put it is like a magnet. It was, like I said, when I first heard this, I was like, whoa, okay.
And how did you start to kind of get deeper into it? What sort of, what kind of path did you take? Because obviously, you know, from hearing the music to kind of starting to get involved, and especially like the kind of scene we're in, this kind of sound system roots thing, it's very underground. So how did you kind of move into that sort of scene?
Everything happened, like it's like every year something different is changing. I will discover there's deep roots, there's DJs, there's different style of the reggae, you know. So it's like every year I was getting more heavily into like the different realms of reggae, you know. And then there was the yard kind of style of reggae conscious, like, you know, like the usual, the sizzlers and whatnot, which I was very, very heavily into, I gotta say, for a very amount of years, to the extent that I was like selecting this music, I was playing them out.
Well, it was all happening then as well, wasn't it? There was a lot of great music like that coming from Jamaica, you know.
Yeah,
Exterminator.
I'll tell you the truth, right? It took me, I did not discover till a little while that UK was producing kind of these stuff as well. Because most of the things that we were collecting, especially the 45, all of them come from Yard. All of them. You know, all of them come from Yard. Dub Vendor was religiously every week, like, you know, every 2 weeks. Till the brother said, yo, you got to know us that, yo, you lot got this already, you got that already, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, those pre-releases, like in that, you know, around 2000, around a millennium kind of time, it's like just, I was really influenced by a lot of that stuff as well. It's like amazing music coming out.
It was unbelievable. And the way, when I started, got heavily into it, it wasn't just me alone. It was like a few brethren around us still, you know, to the extent we wanted them start trying to style a little bit of sound. Because the brethren that we were around, he knew more of yard things, you know, like not like the UK sound as we know it, like the Yard Clash kind of sound, you know, that kind of, he was more into them things there. So it's kind of a natural thing when we were rolling with him. I'm just excited about the whole thing anyway. So, you know what I mean? So I was kind of using the drum and bass skills of mixing tunes. I was giving a little twist like that with the Yard tunes, you know? So as you know, generally back in the day, you might have one rhythm with like 20, 15 artists on it, you know? And then you got the other rhythm with another 15 artists on it. So I was kind of, I was juggling. But the way I was juggling it, I was mixing it, you know, because I was getting the timing right and then blending in next minute, you know. It was weird. Like, so there was a few yard men around the area. They never heard this kind of way of mixing, not juggling, like mixing them rhythms together. What changed the whole thing was when I got to first hear a UK production. It's what for me changed the whole really thing. All them things just went like it never existed, you know.
Because it's a different thing, isn't it? When you hear the UK sound, 'cause at that time, obviously a lot of music happening, but very different sound to the Jamaican sound. So how did you get introduced to the UK sound? What kind of stuff was it?
When I first heard like a UK production, I was like, yes, this is what I'm looking for. It was automatically just knew this is what I'm looking for. The bass was heavy, the rest of the instruments was sounding a bit more brighter and more to like, as a youth, more appealing to my ears, if you understand what I mean, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the first ever, and I heard this on a tape, I think it was Iration. It was a tune called Way Down in Babylon, Up Your Aeration. Yeah, that track there, it was like, whoa, okay. Because it still have a little flavor of drum and bass a little bit, you know? A little flavor, like a little pinch of soul flavor on it, you know. Like I said, the bass was heavy and the hi-hat was rolling, and I was like, yeah. For me, it was just changed the whole. So
and it's hard to find that, even like living in London or whatever. It's like it's underground still, isn't it? It's not something you obviously hear.
You see, and this will make me discover a lot of things, very underground. I get to discover Honest Jones Record Shop. I get to discover lots of, like, we used to hunt these shops in West London, especially Ladbroke Grove area and Kensal Rise, and there's a little shop. We used to hunt them for them. When we go there, straight away we're looking for UK sections, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the Jamaican things, we got to a point, like, yeah, we've got what most selectors will have in their boxes, you know, the anthems, you know what I mean? You know, we just wanted them more, because the UK thing was kind of in the midst of its brightness at that time. Mm-hmm. You know, Disciple was at his peak, ABBA was at his peak, you know, especially the producer them were at their peak more than the sound man them. You know, at that time, I could say anyway, mid-90s to late 90s, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's got a real golden time for the music, definitely.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it was the music that was making the sound man them at the time. You know what I mean? My personal preference anyway. You know what I mean? The Vibronics, the like I said, I just call them the usual suspects. You know.
What about the sound system? I mean, when did you first like? Because there's a difference to hearing the music like normally and then hearing it on a sound system.
One older Ras was living upstairs on them flats at them time. There's like, yeah, there's you guys should go check this. I remember it was a place called Tyson Street in East London, and it's like, yeah, this is like, it's like he told us, yeah, man, enough Rasses come to this dance and Chalice are born and blah blah. He was giving us some lyrics. I was like, I said to my mates, I said, yeah, let's go check out this thing. So it was like that. We just went to check out this thing. So when we got in, it was Shaka playing. When we got in, it was like, yeah, man, my kind of people here, I can relate to this, you know. So we were there, man. I really enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, I heard tune play in a different way I've never heard before. But I kind of like, yeah, enjoy it. But the actual first time I kind of go, whoa, okay, this is played on a different level. It's when I got to experience some other different sound. Like, let's say, ABBA at that time, for example, you know. For me, that was like, yo, okay, this is a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? It was a whole different ball game. And for me to even get to that stage, it was a funny, twisted story. It would just happen to be somewhere, somebody played some tape of University or Dub. I think the first year they done it, that first year, I think it was 98 or 97, 98, something like that. And it was Iration. And his brother saying, yo, there's a place in Brixton. When you go in there, there's 20 boxes and da-da-da and speakers so high. And he was giving us some next lyrics as well. So it's like, yeah, man, I feel forward to this place. Yeah, man. And what was funny, prior to that, a month before we were going to go there, something was happening in Southall. And he showed us the flyer for us. When we went there, and it was funny, it was ABBA playing.
In Southall?
So it was kind of first time, okay, we got a little taste of what we might have. When you know something like, okay, this is you.
Yeah, you feel at home. You feel at home, and it's that connection,
like, this is for you, and this is for you, you know. So for me, it's weird. Everything was like magnet. It was just sticking to me. I was just sticking to it. Everything just, it's the only way I can explain it for me personally, you know.
Because it's an underground thing. It's like you're not getting this experience anywhere else. It's not an easy thing to find. But when you find it, and it's almost like, well, for me, it was like a surprise. It's like, wow, I can't believe this thing actually exists. This is amazing.
That's what I explained to you when I first kind of come around. I was like, whoa, like first time I heard UK thing, I was like, wow, the bass is really like the game for it. Whoa. That just changed my whole, and I don't think I ever looked back since then. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how did you start to kind of get involved in it? Because obviously, you know, sound system, label, you're busy doing lots of things, but that movement from hearing a sound to actually being in it yourself, how did that all sort of come together?
It started with by dedicating to going a lot of sessions. It got to a point, the majority of the big dances, UK dances, that was going on. It's like impossible not to see me there. We went all of these things like religiously. So as for many years of going, it's not even that many years, I could say. Like a good couple of 3-4 years of consistent going to this thing, consistent of going to it. From Thursday to Sundays, you name it. From Edinburgh to Middlesbrough to wherever. As little 16-year-old with an 18-year-old driving a car and taking the piss. We did in business, you know. And as you know, within the whole sound culture, maybe not right now, but back then, there was the usual suspects that you see all the time, you know. And it got to a point, somebody just assumed that we had the sound.
Because you guys were a crew, so everyone's like, these guys must have, they must have something.
Yeah, it was one sister, right? Sister Millie. I don't know if you know her, Sister Millie. Yeah, they call her Queen of Dub still. You know, back then, she was religiously in certain dances, religiously, she was there. So she kind of befriended us, and, you know, it was like, yeah. And she happened just to ask, oh, you lot got a sound? I've got a friend with a club. And we said, yeah, we got a sound.
So you get a booking, and you guys haven't even got a sound or anything.
And then she went, oh, can you give us a mixtape? That's like, all right. But lucky we do them things regular anyway, you know. So we just gave her one tape. She just want to hear what kind of selections, like, you know what I mean? I think she want to make sure that we're keeping it on the UK thing, you know. So it really did kind of come off like that. Very simple, and everything just happened really fast.
And sometimes it takes that jump for someone to say, can you do this? And even if you're not ready, just saying, we'll do it.
Oh, yeah. For me, a lot of things like, you know, you just want to, who dares wins, isn't it?
And what about Bill? Because obviously there you are, DJing and selecting and whatever. So what about building your sound system? I mean, was that the thing that followed, or?
The building the sound system thing wasn't even, we just never thought about it. It just happened that we linked with another sound, because through that, when we were playing the club, we were playing that consistent for about 3 years, maybe 3.5 or something. And through that, like I said, you get to meet some brethren and things like that. And we link up, that's where we link up Word Sound and Power from them throughout all them years ago. And it was like, it was kind of like, let's see, like a brethren introduced us to him to have like, okay, let's say a brother with a sound system, to have the experience of, okay, equipment and things like that. Literally, that's what he said.
Well, Robert Tribulation is the man to talk to.
Yeah, Robert Tribulation, you know. Yeah, so it was introduction one day, which was Tuesday night. On, I think, Wednesday or Thursday, we went to his studio, and then it was like, yeah, all right. I saw, okay, whoa, this guy's got a big studio, like all this stuff in there, big board and 10-inch Alices, 3-way monitors, and a lot of modules and effects, and, you know, all of these things. I was like, okay, this is the place to be, okay. And I don't know, maybe he assumed that I know something already. He just went, yeah, go on, mix a tune. So I was like, yeah, all right. I've never been pressed something like that on the board.
It's your first time on a mixing desk. He just says, mix it.
Yeah, then and he played a track. And obviously, when you into something like that, you know the genre things. Okay, where's the delay, and there's a reverb, and that kind of thing. Literally, like, it was something I don't know. I couldn't.
Well, I think if you're doing like mixtapes and stuff, it's mixing a tune's only one step up from that. It's just kind of you know how you want it to sound. You know what kind of thing you want to do to it. So just someone shows you where those buttons are. Right, bang, I'm off. That's
exactly what it is. I know I wanted to do something. You understand exactly how you explain it. So it was like, yeah. Mess around, whatnot. And he told us that, all right, there's a venue that around the place which was the community center at the time, Southall Community Center. So I went there to see if we can book something, and it just happens that the dude that was running the place was the manager of Misty Roots, one Rasta man, Ian. And the brother, everything just linked naturally. Literally, it happened that fast. And the brother said, yeah, cool, what do you want to do? And we just started rolling with him, help him out with the boxes, set up the things.
Because that's like an apprenticeship, isn't it? It's like learning how to string up the sound and load it on the truck, everything.
Yeah, for sure, and even the way of loading sound, the sub's got to go first, and these are all these kind of things, you know what I mean? And when he set up the thing, it became a thing that, all right, you know what, we just warm up and play tunes, until, well, when certain time of the night and whatnot, like sometime 12 or 1 or whatever, then he just come and does his thing. And
but that's a great experience, though, to be allowed to like play on a big sound system like that and kind of learn, because it's so different to like selecting in a club or something, to learn how to operate a high power proper sound system.
Yeah. It was kind of, but even throughout that whole time, what was going on before I even get on that, I got very heavily into the studio things, very, very heavily into it, so when I kind of first got in his sound, most of the thing that wasn't alienated to me. You understand what I mean? It was just, okay, the control of it I had to get used to. You know what I mean? I used to just not touch much stuff really because it sounded heavy anyway, not knowing we could go 50 times more than that and things like that. You know what I mean? Like taming it and whatnot you want to call it. For me, that took a bit of while, even still taking time now. But yeah, I got very, very heavily into the studio. I dedicate a lot into studio, like work. And most time if you run studio and you got certain equipment, sound system equipment is not really...
Well, it's interesting, the studio, because that was on my list of things to talk about. But it's like, if that came first, then I'm quite interested to kind of to talk to you a bit about that. Because obviously, you've released all these records and some of them are done really well, and it's kind of... And there's a distinctive sound. And I guess going back to you talking about drum and bass and stuff in the 90s, it's like the sound you have is quite sort of digital and futuristic. And it's kind of, I just wonder what other kind of influences you have in the studio and what you're trying to achieve in the studio.
Right. Like I said, for me with the sound, when I first heard like that tenor soul tune, it was the melodies. And even in drum and bass, it was like the melodies as well. It's something like that, Melodies catches me as well, You know what I mean? For me, it's got to have that combination. So generally, I was just not afraid of sounds. I'm just not afraid of using it.
You mean like to try something new and to kind of...
I'm always up for that, always. And majority of the time, the more I get into it, the more I realize that 99% of the time it works. It's their drum and bass influence with them sounds and that kind of thing for me, because it kind of never came out of my head in a way. Just twist it round into this, and hearing a lot of the digital things from the UK as well, it was very raw, very, very raw. And there was producers that was even into them sounds there. But it took a while for people to grasp to it, you know, as it's something new, you know what I mean?
That's the thing. I think when you're doing something that is kind of pushing the boundaries or doing something a bit different, then there's always going to be a set of people who it's not for them.
Oh, I had it all, mate. I had it all. Oh, your music sound like techno, and yeah, oh, it sound a bit this, and what is it, and this and that, and I had it all, mate. But it's just, I know what I'm doing, and I know I'm not straying for where I learned this thing from, you know. So it took a while, like you said. People, it's hard for them to adjust to new things sometimes, you know. But yeah, I think people got to understand it, and people still understanding it, you know.
And the studio is obviously, I'm guessing, a place you feel quite comfortable and like somewhere that, you know, that it's a good place for you to be.
Oh, it's become a second home now, that's for sure. That's for sure. That is for sure. Sometimes it calls me, like, the way I've got it for me personally is ideas is quick to put down. Because I feel like ideas is, you just lose a lot, you know. You know what I mean? I'm trying to catch that moment as much as time and put them down as much as I can, because the music freestyle in your head, especially people that create beats and things and want to do a production music or what, you know what I mean? Don't want that things to go quick, you know.
So did you learn music at all when you were younger, or do you just kind of pick it up along the way?
No, I was more into sports when I was younger. You know, I was heavily, as a school thing and as a youth and whatnot, sports was my thing, you know, until like the last the last 2 years of me leaving school. I played rugby for my borough, for Middlesex, for about 3 years.
Okay.
You know, I started off from school. You know, we done a lot of tournaments. We played South Africa, all these kind of things. You know, so I was very, as a little 13, 14-year-old, I was dedicating my weekends to sports and, you know, things like that.
It kind of makes sense when you see you play, because obviously you're someone who puts a lot of energy into what you do. So if you were like a sports person when you were younger, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
you know
it's you got to channel the energy some different way, you know. And for me, like, this music is the best, like, to channel it out, you know what I mean? So when I'm playing music, I'm playing it because I'm feeling it as well, personally as well. I like what I'm playing. I will enjoy it same way that someone else is playing it.
Even if you're playing it yourself?
Even if I'm playing myself.
Yeah, nice.
You know, I'm not playing it because I'm playing it. I'm playing the tune because that tune, I'm skanking not because I'm playing myself. I'm skanking because that tune is playing. The tune itself, you know, feeling it like that, you know what I mean? Especially when the bass come in and the way the whole genre, if I like that tune, it's like, yeah, it touches me in a way that, yeah, that time and moment, nothing really matters, you know?
I think people relate to that when they see you play and they see that energy, and it's kind of, you know, it's not fake, obviously. It's like, you know, you're in the zone doing your thing, and I think people can relate to that.
Real. Yeah, for real, because like I said, music's an energy, you know, so when you're projecting that energy to people to feel that energy and you're not feeling yourself, people ain't going to pick up that because you're the one throwing that energy. And if there's no energy behind that, people ain't going to pick it up. Mm-hmm. You know, how do you expect people to feel what you're feeling? What you're telling them to feel and you're not feeling that yourself? You know, that don't really, you know, like, so I've seen some selectors, that's their preference anyway, them standing there playing a tune. And now sometimes I do ask myself, are you really enjoying that tune you're playing? You know, it's not that focusing on controlling stuff, because you come here it's playing music, you know.
But to go hand in hand with the energy thing is, I guess, something that maybe King Alpha is known for, is like a lot of volume and a sort of certain, I don't know, like aggressiveness in the sound kind of thing. I don't want to like use the wrong word or anything, but it's like you're into this like loud kind of thing. Would you say that's like an important part of what you do?
I wouldn't say loudness. What I would say is at that time, whatever we have at that time, this thing, there's extreme to it. and we can take it to I feel to feel it that way, is we got to project that extremeness of it. You know, it could be a roots tune or a different style of one drop, steppers, whatever, but it's the way it's been played.
Yeah, because they're not soft tunes, even a slow tune.
This is what I'm getting at. Some people might go play a 70s 45 and they might think, yeah, man, nice and easy and whatnot. But no, it's, if you flip the side, it's a version. They're giving you a drum and bass version. And that music needs to be projected in that extremeness for people to feel it to that extent. Because nowadays, it's hard to penetrate people with good energies and things like that, you know. It needs to be pushed like that. But loudness is a different kind of thing, because not everybody can tolerate. I can't tolerate like something is loud and out of control, you know. We just push things to extreme, you know, like on that kind of sense.
Yeah, like an intensity or something, I suppose.
That's it. I'm not gonna play my bass line very loud, but I will push the intensity of that frequency to play. You understand what I mean? Without being, whoa, they're brutalizing and them kind of things there, you know. It's like some people have a big sound, and I'm thinking, yo, Reggie, you want to spend all the, because sound is money. You don't just turn up. So I must say, yo, you spend all this money on this heavy duty equipment, playing a little bit safe, you know. They're not designed for that, really.
Yeah, it's not like a disco, is it? It's a sound system's
This is
a
what I
different
mean.
thing, isn't it? And
that's the whole point.
For me, it's like I like the intensity of it. You know what I mean?
Thank you. When people call sound to come and play, I think they forget what they're calling to come in and do. You know, because these people are bringing in very heavy duty and powerful stuff. So a man ain't gonna spend 60 grand, and then he's gonna come in a dance. And he's gonna play like in a disco. It's a different kind of genre. That's why back in the day, all them soundmen, even in Jamaica, they're playing outside. No, enough of the dances was outside. You know, because it's heavy duty equipment to cater for the outdoor things there. But some way, somehow, whatnot, it became more of an indoor thing now. More in the UK still, you know, due to, as you can see, it's not really 24-hour sunshine every day, you know.
Say February, you're not going to be playing outside.
True.
So when did you first build like your sound, King Alpha sound system? When and how did that happen?
Like I said, when we were doing the let's say the warm up set for Word Sound and Power them times there, it got to a point that while we were playing, we could carry on playing.
You want to be playing to the end.
Yeah, you know, I got that urge and energy, you know. It's like, yeah, man, you know what? Yeah, man, me ready for like, I can keep doing this. I can keep doing that. So obviously you need your own vehicle to start moving, you know. So it just once come together, and we put some things together. And the first stuff that we bought, 50% of the equipment, we went straight to JTS for that, you know, because at the time he was the most known, the closest person.
A true gentleman, Keith is as well.
Yeah, you see, and for me, I like to buy things from people that's into our thing.
Yeah, you're talking about a lot of expertise when you go and speak to people like Tubbies.
This is what I mean. I like to get things from people that's into our thing, because you kind of you will know what you're getting, and they will have an idea what you want. The first start of that was lyrical process. Took a little time though still, but like I said, sound is money, you know. And I was still in my teens, late teens in fact, you know. So it was like 2005 we started doing a collective thing. Me and a brethren them put some things together, bought half of this, and then it just ending of 2005, there's a sound called Jamaica Sound.
Mm-hmm. They won the cup and stuff back in the day.
Yeah. That brethren there, I think they were selling some of their sound at that time. So just make, like I said, everything was fast. Back him up. It's like, yeah, Bridget, I'm selling some things. So we bought half of the things, and we completed the whole first set, which was middle of 2006. So as we were doing the Southall thing already, I had access to hall already. I was doing the booking and these kind of things. So it was just okay. Next one we do. I just say, Robert, I'm gonna do it. I will do it. You know, just let me do it. Obviously, you know, because we kept the sound in the same place that he has, so he knows that what we're up to. Mm-hmm. Obviously, every step of the way, you know. So it was like, yeah, man, we just booked the whole. And them time there in UK, a lot of things was going on. There's dance there 3 times a week.
Yeah, it's true, and a lot of sounds coming out.
3 times a week. I don't know about any parts in England, but London for sure. You name it, from Dalston to here to Hackney to Brixton to it will just go around circle. Thursday to Sundays, man. I'm telling you.
And when did you start like playing other sounds as well? Because that's a kind of like a big thing when you built a sound and then you're going to play like your heroes, if you like, or people you've really like looked up to, and then you're playing side by side, you know, whatever, you know, with them in a hall.
Back in the UK, the only person back then that's still doing now is just Shaka just plays on his own. It was very rare you see a sound play on their own. It was always, so it's a thing that it's a sound thing. You're used to it. You know what I mean? You go in the sound, there's 2 sound in there, 3 sound in there, 2 sound, 3, 4 sound in there. You know, so it was a kind of thing you're kind of, it was a standard procedure thing.
And was that something you were like itching to do as well, to play another sound and see what it was like?
No, I was just itching to play sound. But I just see as the whole package of it, when you go in an arena, it's just better to go to play another sound. You know? It's like I just say us like it's a boxing. We can't just go in the ring and box yourself, innit? You need another boxer to go with. So it was sound, because I was into it, the militant side of it as well. You know what I mean? Like, yo, the man pulled that tune. You know, yeah, man, he played that tune back on it. Now his tune was. You know, I was into it like that. You know what I mean? So and especially rolling with Word, Sound and Power. It was more of a soldier thing as well, because that's how he don't rap, you know, he don't play like, yo, like the extremeness of it.
Yeah,
you
he's not taking any prisoners.
This is what it is. Like we bred an attitude in the man's like, nah, man, I'll rap with this thing here, you know, and it's a true thing, you know, because actually say, and I know easy walk over thing, you know, you got to stand firm, and yeah, man, make sure you got good tunes and these kind of things. So. All them attitude and everything else, it naturally he just floated into us, you know. So a lot of the attitude and things like that was just rubbing off us, you know what I mean? You know, how to survive in the sound world, if you want to put it, you know, because there's some lions and tigers and all kinds of stuff out there that rip you apart, you know. You have to go pack up your sound, you know, because I got to see it in that way, because it was militant that way, you know what I mean? Them days there, you know. You know what I mean? But obviously in a very, how can I put it? In a very clean manner. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody feel good afterwards, and you feel nice and uplifting.
That's it, because I think you can play music with real energy and kind of like, almost like not necessarily a competitiveness, but just, I don't know, you can call it that if you want, but you can go in there like guns a-blazing and still but still go in there with like good vibes, and you know, it's like it's not like a war hate thing. It's just kind of, it's like a positive energy, for want of a, you know, less corny phrase.
And some people, it might be a bit too much for them. Like the man say, like Shaka said one time in one interview, it's something about the bass, Bridget.
That's true.
I don't know what it does. It's just when that thing comes on, everyone just, it's like your soul's been free for that moment in time. It touches something, you know. It's you just have to feel it and know it, you know. Not everything can be written on.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing, and even years and years later, it's still an amazing thing. I totally agree with you.
And like I said, when I'm playing my music, me personally, you know, I like to emphasize these things, bring out these things, not play it loud, but project them out.
And it seems to have gone on to some, like, you know, some good successes as well, like taking the sound all over the country and like further field, and like, You know, you obviously really, from when those humble beginnings of starting a sound, playing out in Southall and whatever, to being kind of, you know, a sound that now plays all over the place. It's kind of...
For me, I think the first kind of big break we had, and we played, originally we played a big sound, you know. The first time we ever played, we went deep into the deep end. We went halfway in the ocean, man, I'm telling you. We went straight with Mighty Tubet sound, you know. And you had Russ Muffet selector, you know, Keaton Fair the control, Russ Gabriel on the mic, you know. There was a serious sound, you know. They had Sister Beloved on the mic, Costa Farai, Sister Erta, they even had Singer Blue there. I remember it like it was just 2 minutes ago, you know. September, I halfway forgot the date, but it was middle of September, you know. First time. Yeah, big sound, we went in there.
One thing I'm quite interested to ask you about is you did a lot of work with Tequila Unlock and some great, you know, Key to the Universe and stuff, some really great tunes. So how did all that come about? Because he's, I guess in some ways shares some of your like energy and sort of uniqueness, and it seemed to be like a good kind of like a meeting, you know what I mean?
I had this brethren from the States. And he kind of linked, man. He linked out, and he's like, yeah, I like some of your productions, and I've got some vocals. You think that it needs some remix and whatnot. So I was like, yeah. So the brethren used to feed me stuff. They were coming in like the old, not even the old, like the late 90s yard artists, you know, when they were in their prime, and, you know, the energy was there, and it was just positive lyrics, but with militancy, you know. For me, this is something was my thing anyway. So I was like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. The yard style thing on the UK roots, but like, you know, the deep, like dark, deep steppers UK roots, you know what I mean? And then he gave me this one vocal. If I remember it was a tune called Lion I Feel Raw. Bridget, when I hear this vocal, as soon as I press play, I load it up on the machine and I press play. It was something like, yeah, I know what to do. Like, I just click with a brother. I just know what to do. Because I heard this flow, like, yeah, that flow's good, you know. Like, this is standard thing in a different sense. Like, yeah, in the sense of that, this is what I've been looking for. So I just build this thing on it. And then once in a while, he would send me this brethren vocals again. And it's something like, and I realized that now, he's standing out. Most of the people have been remixing their track, like so gelled together, like he was in the studio with me.
Well, he's like a unique artist, definitely. I love what he does, definitely. It's bringing something new to it, but still like total roots artist, you know. This is the way I see it.
He kept he had that old Jamaican DJ style when the Sing J became a thing, like Turbulence, for example, or even the well-known Sizzler, for example, you know, in their prime when the energy was there, like, you know, like he kind of kept that style, you know what I mean? And be honest with you, this went on for about 3 years, you know, and I still never met the dude, still never met the brethren, still never spoke to him.
Well, it's quite a long way from London.
You know, I played that tune, Lion I Feel Raw. Some tunes I consistent play them. As you know, yeah, you can't get them from the shop. The only way you can get to know the music if you consistent hear it. You know, so some tune I make a prime point of playing. And you realize, like I said to you, this brethren stuff keeps sticking out. Like, it's gelling with the beat. It's gelling exactly with what I've done on it, you know. So cut a long story short, it's just the way we're talking to each other. It was like a soldier thing, you know. We all knew the mission. So yeah, Reggie, yeah, it's like, yeah, man, send me rhythms, I'm ready, I'm da. It was like, yeah, man, okay, what kind of things were there? Because a lot of things that we do, we always come up with subject matter. I might tell him, yo, I like it to be about these subject matters, you know. So I was feeding him rhythms that I never think I'll voice these things because they were a little bit raw, you know. And this brethren was flowing some. It was just amazing, you know.
Because sometimes these rhythms are so raw, you think, how can they be like a song with lyrics and melody and stuff? But it takes a certain type of singer to transform those into things.
I'm telling you, you know. So it was like, You know, the response we got back, not necessarily for, wow, this music is great or whatnot. It was more for the gelling part of it, like the combination. You know, people were speaking about that more as well. Like, wow, this is, as a producer, this singer is well with this producer, and this producer is well with this singer.
Just a couple more things, really. It's like, I wonder what things we've got to look forward to from King Alpha. Any kind of things you've got boiling in the pan, ready for us to taste in the future?
Got a lot of big project with Akashic Records coming soon. We got Mike, you know, Akashic Records, man. We got a few of other releases from a few labels coming very, very soon as well. I've got some things with Far East in France, and two albums is coming with Fikir. The reason why these ones are come, I just look forward to them, the differentness of it, man, you know, because we always get these controversial feedback from people, like, and I know that means it's working. People are listening to this stuff, you know what I mean? So,
ruffle a few feathers.
Yeah, I like it, man, you know. If you're ruffling no feathers, you ain't doing nothing, man. You need to ruffle some feathers, man. So yeah, because we don't partial with the subject matter, like I was saying, you know. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to these two albums coming. And another thing with Tenor Stilling, thing called Rastafari Elders as well. You know, which
Tenor's great vocalist.
This one is it's gonna be a special project because I don't think even anyone heard samples of it yet. So it's just gonna be boom.
Well, the other thing as well is what I'm doing to sort of finish off the podcast is I'm asking everybody this same question. If it's like Book of Dub, which is, you know, it's growing now, got a lot of names in it, and people, you know, have different takes on it or whatever. But I ask the guests the same question each time, which is like, I've got this Book of Dub and I'm writing the name in it, so I'm going to write Joseph King Alpha. So what would you want written next to your name? What kind of thing do you want associated with it?
Everybody I need someone to push them, or people to push them, you know. And for me, I give thanks, you know, because to cut it short, I must say I had the right people in the right departments, you know, to make it what it is today, you know. So I can't ask for more. Take me back. I will never change nothing. I wouldn't even change a dot. You know, I have no regret. I didn't regret nothing, you know. Whatever I've gone through with it, good or bad, whatever, it is to be this time and moment as we're speaking, you know. So yeah, give thanks for all of it still, you know. So yeah, man.
Thanks again for joining me and Joseph for this 14th episode of the Life in Dub podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to Life in Dub, and if you enjoyed it, the biggest help you can give is to tell your friends about the podcast and share it around wherever you can. If you have any comments or suggestions about the show, as usual, you can email me, vibronics@gmail.com, or hit me up on the social medias, and you can visit the website, lifeindub.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you all again in 2 weeks for the next Life in Dub podcast.